get into character for it. My name is Jamie Keller. I enlisted in the Marine Corps in 1985. I was a reserve. I worked on F-4 Phantoms and then a little bit on the A-4 Skyhawks. Rose to the rank of Staff Sergeant and then went to OCS in 1996. Got commissioned second lieutenant, became an infantry officer, served in Hawaii with Matt and Mike, ended up retiring a major in 2006, served in Al-Qaim, Iraq in 2005. So in 2000, when was it? We're fucking old, man. So in 1999, I was serving in 1st Battalion, 3rd Marines as a line company platoon commander, and then moved up to 81 millimeter mortar platoon, where that's when I met Matt and Mike. And I was their platoon commander for, I believe, about 18 months. We did a couple times at PTA, a couple times in Korea, and one time in Okinawa. So since I retired, I actually haven't had much interaction with very many Marines at all, besides Facebook, social media. I've been to a couple weddings and kept up with some friends that way, but really it's through Leatherneck Reconnect that reconnecting with you all that has kind of made the difference. You meet Marines every once in a while. You see them in the, you can always tell them, how can you tell someone's a Marine? Don't worry, they'll tell you, right? And I see some in the grocery store or somewhere else, and they're wearing a hat, wearing a cover or a hat, and you go up and say, hey, how you doing, Marine? And they'll look at you and give you the nod. And I appreciate meeting Vietnam vets. The reason being is one, what they faced in Vietnam, and then what they dealt with society and how they carry themselves today. And I appreciate going up to them and saying, hey, welcome home. And you can see that brotherhood that transcends the generations all the way down to the youngest Marines. One year, I went to our park where I normally hike with my dog, and they had a warrior dash, and there was a bunch of wounded warriors there. And I had been retired a few years, and I'm obviously much older than them, but the kinship and the bond, it's kind of the simplistic communication that you have with somebody, where you know so much of their background that you don't have to know them per se. You don't need to know where they came from, what they're doing in the Marine Corps either, for that matter. But you just have this common bond where you can say, hi, I understand where you're coming from, and they can understand where I'm coming from as well. And that's a tremendous experience. As far as day-to-day operations, no, I don't have very much experience at all with meeting Marines. Well, yeah, I forgot to mention, I have been the past couple of years, we've gone to Vegas twice to meet up with Marines that I served with in 1-3 from Alpha Company when I was their platoon commander. And that is just absolutely tremendous. It's wonderful to see everyone out of context. You know, we had a role to play in the Marine Corps, and now that we've moved beyond that, to see everybody as individuals, to get to know them, get to know their family and what they're doing in life is absolutely wonderful. Everybody struggles in one way or another, but at the same time we have this bond, and we know that we have strength within ourselves, but mostly within each other. We're only as strong as our friends are that are around us. And going to the Marine Corps ball was absolutely incredible, because you kind of, in some ways, you forget about the emotions that are attached to it. But something about standing at attention to the Marines' hem, or when they're marching on the colors, and you look around and you can just see all these different Marines. Everything from the guests of honor were from the chosen few, right, frozen chosen. On down to brand new, boot Marines. I have tattoos that have retired long before they've even thought about joining the Marine Corps, and it's just they're carrying the flag, and we've got to always be concerned about what the Marines behind us did, and make sure that we're keeping our honor clean, and that the next generation is doing the same thing. So. Being able to reconnect with Marines, one, it puts things into perspective with what we've done with our lives, and in that, it helps you get through tough times. It helps you appreciate the good times. I mean, Not a day goes by if it's pouring rain that I don't look back and say, you know what, I'm really glad I'm not in the field right now, right? And being thankful of the Marines that are in the field, because they're the ones that are carrying the guide on for the next generation, right? They're only as good as the reputation that they create for themselves, not for the reputation that someone else has given them. We've got to keep making it. Well, the first time you guys were coming here, one, it's very exciting to have you, and I very much appreciate you taking the time to come see me. Obviously, we all have different roles, officer, enlisted. No one's any better than the other. And to have you come here and to, again, forge this friendship that goes beyond just the rank and the time of service that we had has been tremendously uplifting. I appreciated having the opportunity of doing the few promo commercials for it, but to see you and Sizer was here last time has just been absolutely tremendous. One, you get a little closure on some of the stories because I have my half of the story, you have your half of the story, and together we have a little bit of the full picture. And that's always fun to see. But it also, it's good to remind ourselves about what we did and that we're not alone. Leatherneck Reconnect, being able to look at other Marines and say, you can still depend on one another. And that what we did was important and it had meaning and it still will in the long run. And many of our families and friends can look at us and they'll understand that we served, but they'll never truly understand what we did. It's up to us to remind one another that what we did. We walked among giants, and we still do. We just have a little bit of extra weight, little hair on our faces instead of clean shaven. But the brotherhood that lives on is nothing that I heard about it, but I don't think I ever really understood it until now. You know, it's one of those, comes with age and experience to really appreciate what we did and why we did it. And this helps reinforce that. Living in Charlotte, there's not a large Marine presence. So there's not a reason to be among Marines. There's not a PX even that you can hang out and talk to somebody because they just came out of the barbershop and you have to. What I believe that Leatherneck Reconnect does is in some ways it forces the hand and says, hey, we're here, we're going to get together, we're interested in meeting you, we're interested in hearing your story, and we're interested in you bringing other friends in to connect with us. If you have a large reunion, such as the one in Vegas, that's a large financial toll to go out there, and in some ways there's a lot more expectations with you guys being able to come into my house. You see how I live. You see a complete different story than what we had in Hawaii. And in some ways, in many ways, I think that makes the bond that much better. And for you to come and do the rolling show, if you will, in some ways it's a lot more accessible. And then you get to meet Marines of many different backgrounds and ages and times of service. And everybody needs to feel connected. I can meet a Marine on the street, and although I don't know anything about them, I have this bond, I have this core of familiarity with our common training, our language. Gosh, you want to talk about a divide in society, just listen to how we speak compared to the average civilian that's out there. And in some ways, it's like coming home. That's what I think. But you're coming into my home rather than us going into a mutual place, such as Vegas or something like that. Yeah. Leatherneck Reconnect has inspired me to reach out to other Marines I serve with, and I would encourage them to be in contact with you guys and to try and meet up at one of your stops, if you will. We have social media, we have Facebook. You can see what somebody posts, but that's not the same. They can post something about the Marine Corps or their family, and you can respond to it with a like or a thumbs up, but there's nothing that's can be matched by actually going kneecap to kneecap, drinking with somebody, looking them in their eye, and allowing things to unfold that's not one statement at a time. So benefit of Leatherneck Reconnect, come in here. It's one thing to go to Vegas and to be around a group of Marines and everybody, it flies in. But imagine that 101-year-old Marine that you guys went and visited. Who would have visited him? What I noticed when I was on recruiting duty, I would meet older Marines, mostly parents, fathers, for the most part, and they would have a conversation with me that was very different than with their sons. They'd tell me instances about their service in Vietnam, and I would talk to their sons later on. I was putting them in the Marine Corps, and they'd say, "Oh yeah, you talked to my dad." And I said, "Oh, he's telling me a great story about Vietnam." And they would look at me dumbfounded and say their father never ever mentioned their service in Vietnam. And part of that, I think, is because they feel comfortable, because we have this brotherhood, we have this bond, and without that, sometimes how can you even connect to that? Now, none of us served Iwo Jima. We haven't even been to Iwo Jima, but I think he came away feeling that we're brothers. You're kin to him in a way that his family could not relate to. And I think in the long run, that's a tremendous liberation, if you will, of him to be able to acknowledge and have somebody acknowledge his service and understand what it actually meant in a way that gives it perspective to the Marine Corps that you just can't get if you haven't served that way. The fact that if you have a large reunion where many people descend there, or you go from place to place, it's very effective. But again, to be able to come into somebody's home and to greet them in that familiar fashion, I don't think can be matched. In many ways, it's sorely needed, if not anything but to remind us of just what we did and why it was important.